Hi everybody, my name is Caden.
I'm Jaden.
I'm Nicole.
I'm Eli.
I'm Jason.
And we're the Yahoo and the Torah YouTube channel.
And we thank you guys very much for tuning in, and we appreciate your time. And we are going over the book of Enoch. Now, the first time we made it through chapters 1 through 10, and we are going to be reading this in the Hallelujah Scriptures. And to my left, what version do you have there, Caden?
You're reading the Sefer.
I'm reading the Sefer to the
You
left.
said Hallelujah Scriptures.
No, what you guys are reading the Hallelujah Scriptures. All right, this is the Sefer version for anyone
What version
that
is this?
I don't know. It was just
Not
one
confused.
that I found on the Google
It's
Play.
one on Google Play. It's a Google Play version.
All right, whatever Google Play version is. Jaden, what version is yours?
Lost books of the Bible.
Okay, Nicole
Hallelujah Scriptures.
and Eli.
Some website online.
Some offline version. Okay. So anyway, let's begin with this, and let's what happened last time, right? So we basically had Enoch. He is the attorney, or he is the
Messenger.
not really messenger. He is
Mediator?
the mediator. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. He's the mediator for the Watchers. Now, what do we have so far?
So
Jake?
basic.
Eli. Okay.
Tips.
So basically, so far we have he talked about all the fallen that came down. They were set upon here. Then they all started teaching people sin and all different things. Each fallen angel did something different, and then they all started.
So, what are some of the things that the fallen taught women?
Makeup, jewelry.
beautifying themselves.
Yeah,
mirrors,
and men.
swords, weapons.
They also brought in mirrors.
Cool stuff. Yeah, cool stuff. The guy's got all sorts of cool stuff. Weapons of war. Okay.
And then they bound him and threw him under the earth with rocks.
Right. Okay, so here we are. But they're not actually there yet, because we'll continue on. This is where they're going to go. So Enoch chapter 11. In those days I will open the treasures of blessing which are in heaven, that I may cause them to descend upon earth, and upon all the works and labor of man. Peace and equity shall associate with the sons of men all the days of the world, in every generation of it. Okay? Does that sound like now? Does that sound like we have peace in the world or any of that stuff?
I would say no.
We got dogs growling. Nothing we can do. And we can get the spray bottle. That's what we can do. All right, so Enoch, chapter 12. Let's go to the next one. Before all these things, Enoch was concealed, nor did any one of the sons of men know where he was concealed, where he had been, and what had happened. He was wholly engaged with the holy ones and with the watchers in his days. I, Enoch, was blessing the great Yahuwah and King of peace. And behold, the watchers called me Enoch, the scribe. Then Yahuwah said to me, Enoch, the scribe of righteousness, go tell the watchers of heaven who have deserted the lofty sky and their holy everlasting station, who have been polluted with women, and have done as the sons of men do by taking to themselves women, and who have been greatly corrupted on the earth, that on the earth they shall never obtain peace and remission of sin. For they shall not rejoice in their offspring. They shall behold the slaughter of their beloved, shall lament for the destruction of their sons, and shall petition forever, but shall not obtain mercy and peace. Okay, so what happened right there in 7?
Basically, they just got a judgment.
Yeah, so Enoch was supposed to go and tell these guys they're basically doomed. That is a message of doom. All right, 13. Then Enoch, passing on, said to Azazel, you shall not obtain peace. A great sentence is gone forth against you. He shall bind you. Neither shall relief, mercy, and supplication be yours, on account of the oppression which you have taught, and on account of every act of blasphemy, tyranny, and sin, with which you have discovered to the children of men. Then departing from him, I spoke to them all together, and they all became terrified and trembled, beseeching me to write for them a memorial of supplication, that they might obtain forgiveness, and that I might make the memorial of their prayer send up before the Elohim of heaven, because they could not themselves thenceforward address him, nor raise their eyes to heaven on account of the disgraceful offense for which they were judged. Then I wrote a memorial of their prayer and supplications for their ruach, for everything which they had done, and for the subject of their entreaty, that they might obtain remission and rest. Proceeding on, go ahead, Nicole.
Mine says for their petition instead of a memorial. He wrote their petition and a prayer in regard to their spirits and the deeds individually, and in regard to their requests that they should have forgiveness and length.
Perfect, thank you. Anyone else have any other versions?
No, I have the pretty close same version. Almost exactly the same to yours, minus the names.
Okay, so yours is the internet suffer or something. Proceeding on, I continued over the waters of Dan, which is on the right up to the west of Kermon.
Yours says Dan?
It says Dan.
Mine says Dan Baden.
Mine says Dan too.
Yours says Dan
Dan.
Baden.
Dan Baden. DanBadan.
Yeah, okay. Proceeding on, I continued over the waters of Dan, which is on the right side of the west of Kermon, reading the memorial of their prayer until I fell asleep. And behold, a dream came to me, and visions appeared above me. I fell down and saw a vision of punishment, that I might relate it to the sons of heaven, and reprove them. When I awoke, I went to them. All being collected together, stood weeping in Abusil, which is situated between Lebanon and Sinir, with their faces veiled. What did your guys say on that? Weeping in what?
Abel's jail.
Abel's jail?
Oh, Belsiel.
Yeah, I don't have any kind
Abel's
of thing.
jail. That might be Abel's grave site.
So Eli says Abel's jail. Abels jail. Jail.
All one word.
Yeah, all one word. Okay, interesting. 10. I related in their presence all the visions which I had seen and my dream, and began to utter these words of righteousness, reproving the watchers of heaven. What a job, what a job. All right.
Well, that's like, imagine those, like, you have to send some messengers, those powerful creatures, like, hey, you guys are getting punished.
Well, imagine these guys sitting there weeping. I mean, these are like some very vicious, evil. I mean, these things are monsters.
I mean, they did this to themselves.
They did this to themselves. They coerced by themselves. They made this, and now this is the problem with doing great crime: is that there is a time that you have to pay for it, and it may not be in this world, but it will be. All right. This is the sefer of the words of righteousness, and of the reproof of the watchers who are from eternity, according to that which he, who is holy and great, commanded in the vision. I perceived in my dream that I was now speaking with a tongue of flesh, and with my breath, which El Elyon has put into the mouth of men, that they might converse with it, and understand with the heart, as he has created and given to men the power of comprehending the word of understanding, so that he has created and given to me the power of reproving the watchers, the offspring of heaven. I have written your petition, and in my vision it has been shown me that what you request will not be granted you as long as the world endures. Okay, so they basically got denied, right? So
Yeah.
they are sitting there weeping, crying, all this stuff, and it didn't do anything, right? Yah was not interested in their repentance, because basically they corrupted all mankind. They corrupted us all.
Mine says throughout all the days of eternity.
All the days of eternity. Okay, where's that at?
And
For as long as the world endures?
Yeah.
Okay. And it says what?
Throughout all the days of eternity.
Okay, so pretty much forever. 3. Judgment has been passed upon you. Your request will not be granted you. From this time forward, never shall you ascend into heaven. He has said that on the earth he will bind you as long as the world endures. So this is very interesting. It's like almost like they had capabilities of going back and forth up until they hatched this plan. And I guess what's interesting, which I find interesting, is that angels aren't to marry, right? There's no intermarrying inside of this. And so they went down and they basically fell in love with the creatures of Yah, and they're not even the same kind of creatures. They're not even human. And so they weren't supposed to live and die like this. All right. Where am I at here?
I don't know. I'm on 6.
Mine
but
says 6, but I think yours is 7, right?
I don't think so.
Go
5.
forth, bind.
I'm on 5. But before these things you shall behold the destruction of your loved ones, your beloved sons. Excuse me, where did I even get loved ones? Okay, let me try that again. But before these things you shall behold the destruction of your beloved sons. You shall not possess them, but they shall fall before you by the sword. Neither shall you entreat for them, nor for yourselves. So basically there's no pleading, there's no petition, it's game over. But you shall weep and supplicate in silence the words of the sefer which I wrote. A vision thus appeared to me. Behold, in that vision clouds and a mist invited me. Agitated stars and flashes of lightning impelled and pressed me forwards, while winds in the vision assisted my flight, accelerating my progress. They elevated me aloft to heaven. I proceeded until I arrived at a wall built with stones of crystal. A tongue of fire surrounded it, which began to strike me with terror. Into this vibrating flame I entered, and drew nigh to a spacious habitation built also with stones of crystal. Its walls, too, as well as pavement, were formed with stones of crystal, and crystal likewise was the ground. Its roof had the appearance of agitated stars and flashes of lightning, and among them were cherubim of fire, and their heaven was water. A flame burned around its walls, and its portal blazed with fire. When I entered into this dwelling, it was hot as fire and cold as ice. No trace of delight or of life was there. Terror overwhelmed me, and a fearful shaking seized me. Violently agitated and trembling, I fell upon my face. In the vision I looked. And behold, there was another habitation more spacious, every entrance to which was open before me, erected in a vibrating flame. So greatly did it excel in all points, in glory, in magnificence, and in magnitude, that it is impossible to describe to you either the splendor or the extent of it. What are we looking at? What are we dealing with here, folks?
I think lightning.
I think a house in
I
heaven.
think it's
maybe?
Yah's house.
Or
Yeah,
yours
he went
says
into a
walls
giant
of
house.
crystal. Mine says walls of fire.
Yours says walls of fire, huh?
Where yours says walls of crystal.
Man, this is probably worse translations than any of the other books that we've gone through, right? Because the King is bad, the NIV is bad, the Sefer is bad stuff, and this is even harder because these are books that have not been studied as much as all the others and have gotten the correct translations. Okay, its floor was on fire. Above were lightnings and agitated stars, while its roof exhibited a blazing fire. Attentively I surveyed it, and saw that it contained an exalted throne, the appearance of which was like that of frost, while its circumference resembled the orb of the brilliant sun, and there was the voice of the cherubim. From underneath this mighty throne rivers of flaming fire issued. To look upon it was impossible. One great in glory sat upon it, whose robe was brighter than the sun and whiter than snow. No angel was capable of penetrating to view the face of him, the glorious and the effulgent, nor could any mortal behold him. A fire was flaming around him. A fire also of great extent continued to rise up before him, so that not one of those who surrounded him was capable of approaching him among the myriads of myriads who were before him. To him holy consultation was needless, yet did not the sanctified who were near him depart far from him either by night or by day, nor were they removed from him. I was so far advanced with a veil on my face and trembling. Then Yahuwah with his own mouth called me, saying, Approach hither, Canuck, at my holy word. And he raised me up, drawing me near, even to the entrance. My eye was directed to the ground. All right, so this dude is awesome. Canuck is amazing. I don't know if who's better, Ezra, Canuck, Moshe. I mean, who's the man when it's dealing with this? I mean, who do we know that actually went and saw Yah? Not really saw him, but saw as much as you could of him, and Yah actually talked to him, right? He spoke to him. I know he spoke to Moshe, which was a huge thing. Was Moshe taken to the Shemaim that we know of? Anyone?
I don't think so.
He went up on the mountain, disappeared. We don't know really what happened to him after that, but
Kate, it will actually help if you don't talk into your fist when you're speaking. If you speak into this little button right here, that's called a mic. So,
So mine has a totally different version of that.
all right, what does it say?
None of the messengers could enter and look upon his face, because of the magnificence and esteem, and no flesh could look upon him. The flaming fire was round about him, and a great fire stood before him, and none around could draw near him. 10,000 times 10,000 before him, yet he needed no counselor. And the most Kadeshim who were near to him did not leave by night, nor depart from him. And until then I had been prostrate on my face, trembling, and Yahuwah called me with his own mouth, and said to me, Come here, Canuck, and hear my word. And one of the Kadeshim came to me and woke me, and made me rise up and approach the door, and I bowed my face downwards.
All right, so myriads of myriads are 10,000s?
10,000 times 10,000.
10,000s? With an S?
10,000 times 10,000.
Is it 10,000 or 10,000s?
10,000.
Okay, so 10,000 times 10,000. That's a myriad, I guess. All right, myriad is 10,000. Okay, well, that's very interesting. So we have, how many versions do we have going here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 versions of this. All right, we'll get through this. All right, 15. Then addressing me, he spoke and said, Hear, neither be afraid, O righteous Canuck, you scribe of righteousness, approach hither and hear my voice. Go, say to the watchers of heaven who have sent you to pray for them, you ought to pray for men and not men for you. Very interesting. I want to touch on that point right there. That it is. I mean, this is interesting, right? Our messengers are supposed to pray for us, right? So that would lead us to conclude that messengers are all around us. Right? If the watchers came down originally and there were bad ones, then there are probably good ones as well. Okay, let's go 2. Wherefore have you forsaken the lofty and holy heaven, which endures forever, and have lain with women, have defiled yourselves with the daughters of men, have taken to yourselves women, have acted like the sons of the earth and begotten Nephilim. You being spiritual, holy, and possessing a life which is eternal, have polluted yourselves with women, have begotten in carnal blood, have lusted in the blood of men, and have done as those who are flesh and blood do. Very interesting still as well, right? That tells us a little bit of separation between humans and angels, right? Angels aren't they're supposed to be forever, right? They're eternal people, and then now they're not. And so something also I would lead to believe that angels don't bleed like we do, I would guess, because there's something about the blood here, and I don't think that they would. I mean, man is something totally different. Go on, 4 on. These, however, die and perish. Therefore have I given to them women, that they might cohabitate with them, that sons might be born of them, and that this might be transacted upon earth. But you, from the beginning, were made spiritual, possessing a life which is eternal, and not subject to death forever. Therefore I made not women for you, because being spiritual, your dwelling is in heaven. Now the Nephilim, who have been born of the Ruach and of flesh, shall be called upon earth evil Ruach, and on earth shall be their habitation. Evil Ruach shall proceed from their flesh, because they were created from above. From the holy watchers was their beginning and primary foundation. Evil Ruach shall they be upon earth, and the Ruach of the wicked shall they be called. The habitation of the Ruach of heaven shall be in heaven, but upon earth shall be the habitation of terrestrial Ruach who are born on earth. All right, now this is a discussion point right here, guys. Let's talk about this right here, right? This is where we ended up with all the demons. To this point, we know that we had the nemesis of all evil, Hasatan. Then we know that we had, 200 watchers that came down on Mount Kermon. And now we are going to be dealing with whatever generations. These suckers lived 500 years. So inside of that 500 years, they definitely bred and had a tremendous amount of children. I am going to go out there on a limb and say there's probably hundreds of millions of these things. I'm just guessing. They claim right now that the world has 8 billion people, going up to 9 billion. But like they say, if they do a really good job, never mind, that's Bill. That's a joke for anyone that knows. But this is what we're talking. If we're talking 3 generations at 500 years apiece, the Nephilim, and the Eliud, that's a lot of things. I mean, we could literally have like millions and millions and millions of demonic forces against us, which is why the blood of the Lamb is the only way out of this stuff, and which is why we all need to pray for each other all the time, and that we need to toss these demons. We need to do demon tossing, right? There's only one way that we can do this is by demon tossing, by using the blood. All right, the Ruach of the Nephilim are like clouds, which shall oppress, corrupt, fall, content, and bruise upon the earth. Now, gentlemen, pay attention here. Listen to all you guys. Right? Look at me. Do you guys ever feel that? Do you guys ever feel like on this earth you guys feel like you're oppressed, corrupted, you fall, content, bruised?
Yeah, sometimes there's stuff in you feel definitely different than you would usually.
Yeah, I mean, all of us have gone through that. I know, there are definitely unclean spirits that will, without a shadow of a doubt, infect my youngsters. They will, and I've seen it. I've seen them infect me. Why do you wake up with a really bad mood? Why are you... why are you doing some of the things you're doing that are not normally what you would do? What is the influence? Where are we being influenced? And how is it? Now, a generational curse, like these demons, they would love us to all be alcoholics. They would love us to be completely warped and alcoholic so that they can have their way with us. And then if I'm an alcoholic and you guys become an alcoholic, there's a good chance your kids would become an alcoholic and that. That's how we do it. And alcohol is only the tool, but it's inside of that tool that these vessels are using that to get into us and to do this. And so when people are using like there's very bad drugs, there's like mind altering drugs like LSD, all this stuff. I mean, they literally take this stuff now and they talk to elves. They literally in their trances they talk to the elves. Now I'm thinking that these aren't really elves, but that if we could see the world that was basically we're in a state of the world. I don't know what we can see. But if we were able to see another level of it, I believe that we would see probably guardians sitting up on our walls. We would also see the demons and devils walking all around us as well. And so, we've had many, many issues inside of dog times where out of nowhere, and a perfectly normal day when our guard is down, that the dogs will get into a fight, and it usually takes us, right? It usually gets us, and we're all completely distraught afterwards. We're completely shaken, and these dogs have no reason to fight whatsoever. Then all of a sudden, something gets into them. We don't know what it is. All right, let's continue on.
Hold on, can I just say what mine said on
please
that?
do.
And the spirits of the giants afflict, oppress, destroy, attack, do battle, and work destruction on the earth, and cause trouble.
Yeah, and if you think that is they're out there like knocking a building down, they're not knocking a building down. They're knocking you down. They're inhabiting your temple. They are basically creating a divide between Yah and yourself. And I think there's tons of hopeless demons. The demons of hopelessness, the demons of despair, the demons of sadness, right? That we can get locked onto something and we don't even know why we are like we are. And I would have to say that, it's probably not just straight, maybe chemical imbalances inside of us, but I would say for the most part, there are devils and demons that are doing this. All right, let's go into 10. They shall cause lamentation. No food shall they eat, and they shall be thirsty. They shall be concealed, and shall rise up against the sons of men and against women, for they come forth during the days of slaughter and destruction. Okay, I want to touch on another point right there. They don't eat food, right? And they're thirsty. What is that going to do to you?
They're gonna punish us.
They're gonna be mad. They're gonna have like an endless thirst, right? An endless thirst is going to be Eli, where's your water bottle? Please take care of the dog. All right. Yeah, it's going to be an endless thirst. These things are going to be aggressive. They're going to be angry. And it says right here, they rise up against the sons of men and women. And so there is, this is spiritual battle that we are into, and we got to deal with this. All right, let's go on. 16. And as to the death of the Nephilim, wheresoever the Ruach depart from their bodies, let their flesh, that which is perishable, be destroyed before the judgment. Thus shall they perish until the day of the great consummation of the great world. A destruction shall take place of the watchers and the impious. All right, so what are we seeing here? So their spirits
Their bodies die off.
Yep.
But their spirits are there until the great day of the consummation. Like
So right, they're here.
world.
Yeah, they're here forever, right? There's no place. They're not in hell. They're nowhere else. When they die, they're roaming about, probably seeking who they may devour.
I mean, Adam and Eve probably didn't have a peaceful time through Enoch's lifetime, but it's probably much more peaceful than before these guys came along.
I don't know. If you read the book of Adam and Eve, it wasn't peaceful at all. I mean, Adam died, 7 times trying to make it through?
More.
Yeah, I mean, he kept tossing himself down the hill. Satan kept taking him, beating him up. Thirst and starvation.
And these dudes are living in fear, so someone's going to eat them.
Yeah. Well, this is very I find this very, very interesting. These things are with us at all times, and what is our defense? How do we defend against this? I mean, the number one defense, if you don't know they're around you, then you would have no idea. You'd be sitting there popping anti-depression pills, you'd be like on big pharma sorcery crap, and you'd be all jacked up. All right.
I need to plead the blood.
Yeah, plead the blood. Absolutely. Good job, Nicole. And now to the watchers who have sent you to pray for them, who in the beginning were in heaven, say, in heaven have you been. Secret things, however, have not been manifested to you, yet have you known a reprobated mystery. And this you have related to women in the hardness of your heart, and by that mystery have women and mankind multiplied evils upon the earth.
So they have technologies and all sorts of things in heaven that we may have never seen.
Well, we know that there's weaponry, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why would Yah? I guess that's a good question. Why would Yah have weaponry
To send his angels out to battle against the force of Hasatan.
But why wouldn't they just have some sort of magical powers, or I'm not magical powers, that's satanic, but why wouldn't they just have like some kind of, because in the end times, in the book of Ezra, it talks about when Mashiach, Yahushua comes, he has no weapon, he has no nothing, and there's the entire world coming to him, and he breathes out this, and it's like fire.
The weapons are
erupts.
probably for us as warriors of Yah. He has weapons already ready for those of his royal.
That goes to the question again, why did they know about how to beautify themselves? How did they know about makeup,
Maybe that's
mirrors?
I don't know if that's a thing in the kingdom, if they're like...
Or do they
that.
just know so much more? Because we'll learn later that they give the women abortions. They teach the women how to do abortions. All right.
I mean, they obviously know how creation works, so they obviously know how to destroy creation as well. They were obviously with Yah. They know, like you said, the mysteries. So they're also going to know how since they know the ingredients of it, they're also going to know how to break it down. It's like if you know how a computer's built, you know how to take it apart.
Yeah, so they are obviously, what's the word, enlightened more than we are, or have better stuff, or
And they
know
turned
it.
it into evil versus.
Yeah, evil.
Good.
I don't know where, beautifying of the eyes and painting them and all that, perfumes and stuff of all that. And it doesn't say perfumes.
That's
but,
where technology like smartphones, computers, electronics. Where did all this come from?
Yeah, where did CERN come from? That's for sure. All right, 2. And now to the watchers who have sent you to pray for them who in the beginning were in heaven, say, in heaven have you been? Secret things, however, have not been manifested to you. Yet have you known a reprobated mystery. And this you have related to women in the hardness of your heart, and by that mystery have women and mankind multiplied evils upon earth. Say to them, never therefore shall you obtain peace. I think I just reread a couple things a couple times.
We read that twice.
Yeah, sorry guys. I'm get lost track here as I'm fighting dogs and everything else. All right, let's go into 17. They raised me up into a certain place, where they, the angels, were like the appearance of a burning fire. And when they pleased, they assumed the likeness of men. Okay, so Enoch saying they raised me up into a certain place where the angels were like the appearance of a burning fire, and when they pleased, they made the likeness of men. Which is
So whenever they
as
want,
men.
they want, and when they wished, they made themselves appear as men. So when they wanted to, they could just transform themselves as
That
men.
means that demons can also transform themselves into humans to trick you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we know that as for sure. And so the angels, I'm thinking of Sodom and Gomorrah when the 2 angels came down and looked like men. I'm guessing that they don't look like men unless they're trying to.
It talks about how they have like 6 wings and eyeballs and stuff. That's just something else. I think later in the somewhere in Revelation or somewhere else.
Yeah. All right. They carried me to a lofty spot, to a mountain, the top of which reaches to heaven. And I beheld the receptacles of light and of thunder at the extremities of the place where it was deepest. There was a bow of fire and arrows in their quiver, a sword of fire, and every species of lightning. Okay, that's very interesting. Then they elevated me to a babbling stream, and to a fire in the west, which received all the setting of the sun. I came to a river of fire, which flowed like water, and emptied itself into the great sea westwards. I saw every large river until I arrived at the great darkness. I went to where all of flesh migrate, and I beheld the mountains of the gloom, which constitutes winter, and the place from which issues the water in every abyss. I saw also the mouths of all the rivers in the world, and the mouths of the deep. Now, this reminds me of when Hasatan took Messiah Yahushua up to a very high point and was able to see all the kingdoms of the world. And again, if we think about this on the spinning ball, which they have told us from birth that we live up on, as we're spinning around in circles, tilted at a 66.6 degree, whatever it is, none of this looks like it. You're not going to be able to rise yourself up on a ball and see what he is able to see right here, right? It's going to have to be flat land. So I'm thinking the ball is disproved already at this point. Chapter 18. I then surveyed the receptacles of all the winds, perceiving that they contributed to adorn the whole creation and to guard the foundation of the earth. I surveyed the stone which supports the corners of the earth. Okay, is that your guys to say that?
I saw the cornerstone of the earth.
Okay, that right there to me, I mean, how in the world would you be on a spinning ball when you have foundations of the earth? None of this makes any sense. The entire NASA, the entire space program, it all looks like a bunch of hogwash. I don't mean to sound bad, but Nicole, do you have something?
Mine just says the firm foundations of the earth, and I saw the cornerstone of the earth.
Yeah, if you're talking about a firm foundation, yes, the earth is firm, but they claim we're waddling and spinning at thousands of things. All right, let's go on. I also beheld the 4 winds, which bear up the earth and the expanse of the heavens. Okay, 4 winds. What do you mean 4 winds? I mean, they always talk about 4 corners and 4 winds. How do you have 4 corners on a ball? None of this makes any sense.
Mine says firmament
Firmament. Okay,
of the Shamayim.
thank you. The firmament of the Shamayim, the expanse of heaven.
Yep.
All right. And I beheld the winds occupying the exalted sky, arising in the midst of heaven and of earth, and constituting the pillars of heaven. Again, this just basically the earth has got to be, I don't know what dimensions it is, but it's not round rolling through the skies. Okay, I saw the winds which turn the sky, which caused the orb of the sun and all the stars to set. And over the earth I saw the winds which support the clouds. Okay, does anyone have anything interesting to say here?
The sun, he states the sun is like round, but he doesn't state the earth is round.
It says it's an orb. It's an orb. And we saw in, I think, what Genesis, the 4th day of creation is when the sun and moon were created, right? And so if we are creating the world, if you are going to have something spin around the sun, wouldn't you create that on day one? Wouldn't you create the sun day one so that the earth can go around it? Because we're already in day 4 before he ever created the 2 lights for the earth, right? So basically we're saying he created, if what they say is correct, and they created a round ball, on day 4, they created the sun and the moon, and then he took this ball and he spun this sucker and he just spun it all around this thing, is what we're saying. That is what it has to be. Okay? All right. Verse 7, I saw the path of the angels. I perceived at the extremity of the earth the expanse of heaven above it. Then I passed on towards the south, where burnt both by day and night 6 mountains formed of glorious stones.
Yours says 6.
It does.
Mine says 7.
It does?
Mine says 7 mountains as well.
What does your
Mine
say,
says
Kate?
6 mountains.
All right, we got another discrepancy. Eli, what's your say?
7.
You got 7? So we got 2 with 6.
But it says 7 mountains of precious stones, 3 towards the east and 3 towards the south.
Yeah, this one says 6. Well, how would it be 7?
I don't know.
That's what I'm wondering.
One
too,
in the
because
one in
mine
the
says
ce- one in
So-
the center, and 2 on each side.
No, I don't think so. It says right here 3 on one side. I think the Sefer has this one right. 6 mountains formed of glorious stones, 3 towards the east and 3 towards the south. You wouldn't have 7 right
3
there.
plus 3 is not 7. This is basic math.
That's only in North America math nowadays. All right. So, verse 10. Those which were towards the east were of a variegated stone, one of which was of margarite and another of antimony. Those towards the south were of a red stone. The middle one reached to heaven like the throne of Elohim. So it is?
There is a middle one.
Oh, you're right, Jade. I guess there is. So maybe Dr. Steven got this one wrong. All right, the middle of one reached to heaven like the throne of Elohim, a throne composed of alabaster, the top of which was sapphire, I saw, too, a blazing fire hanging over all the mountains. All right, so we're either dealing with 6 mountains or 7 mountains, and then we're dealing with, there's like some kind of stones.
Mine says pearl and jacinth for the first 2 that were colored.
Okay, so yours says instead of a red stone?
No, the first one, and the ones towards the east. One was colored stone, one was pearl, and one was jacinth.
Mine says one was of pearl and one was of healing stone.
Healing?
Uh-huh.
Like Heal?
Healing stone.
Okay, there's. We're just gonna have to dig in and figure out what this is.
And those towards the south of red stone.
Redstone. So we got that. Everyone's good with redstone. Everyone has redstone.
Yeah.
All right. 11. And there I saw a place on the other side of an extended territory where waters were collected. I likewise beheld terrestrial fountains deep in the fiery columns of heaven. All right. So let's envision this. We have fiery columns of heaven, and we have fountains, deep terrestrial ones that go up to heaven. So it's almost like our land, our world here is somehow connected to the Shamayim. I don't know how, but that's what it kind of sounded like to me.
So a really tall mountain, some of the reaches of heaven.
Yeah, I don't know if there's so many. I don't know if there's a mountain that reaches, and even Mount Everest. I mean, people have been to the top of that. It's not heaven.
Probably some hidden mountain we can't see or something.
Maybe. Anything? You have anything, Nicole?
Mine says, and I saw a deep abyss with columns of fire of the Shamayim, and among them I saw columns of fire fall, which were beyond measure, alike towards the height and towards the depth.
Huh. All right. Yeah. Little,
Mine has references to other ones of this.
what do you mean references?
Like
the
different
other-
verses.
Oh, okay. So it actually gives you like other ones outside of it. Give us those references when you have those. All right. So I likewise beheld terrestrial fountains deep in the fiery columns of heaven, and in the columns of heaven I beheld fires, which descended without number, but neither on high nor into the deep. Over these fountains also I perceived a place which had neither the expanse of heaven above it, nor the solid ground beneath it. Neither was there water above it, nor anything on wing, but the spot was desolate. And there I beheld 7 stars, like a great blazing mountains, like the Ruach entreated me. All right, so when we go back to that 6 mountains, I'm going to go out on a limb and say it was probably 7, because Yah is always down with the 7s, and then we just have it right here. He's dealing with, and then behold, there's 7 stars. I mean, I don't know. Call me crazy, but that's my guess. All right. Then the angel said, "Did you have something, Eli?
Yeah, I have one of the references.
Speak up there, Cookie."
I put my hand.
Oh, I didn't see.
Alright, so it's Matthew 25, 40-41. And the king shall answer and say unto them, Amen, I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done unto the least of these of my brethren, ye have done unto me. Then he shall say unto them on the left hand, Depart from me, you cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels.
Everlasting fire. That's the reference on this?
Wow.
Wow. Cool. Interesting. Okay. 15. Then the angel said, "This place, until the consummation of heaven and earth, will be the prison of the stars and the host of heaven." Okay. This is another thing, right? There's a lot of discussion points. A prison for the stars. Jaden, what are we dealing with here?
I don't know. I do not know.
Okay, so the stars, I guess, I don't know if you guys have ever stargazed, but I've looked at it before, and if you look real closely, and I'm sure people with telescopes have looked up there, they're twinkling. These things are moving all around. Like, it is not just a light that's sitting up there. These things are in there. All right, and so we find out a little later what's going on. 16. The stars which roll over fire are those which transgress the commandment of Elohim before their time arrived, for they came not in their proper season. Therefore was he offended with them and bound them until the period of the consummation of their crimes in the secret year. All right, does your guys say secret year?
Yeah.
Mine, no.
All right, why don't you scoot up here to look
Well,
at me?
the dog's in my
The
way.
dog's in the way. All right, what do you got?
All right, so let me find it again.
So,
And the stars which roll over the fire, as they have transgressed the commandment of Yahuwah in the beginning of their rising, because they did not come forth at their appointed times. And he was wroth with them and bound them till the time when their guilt should be completely ended for 10,000 years.
so this is almost to me like everything Yah has created almost has his own will, or it's like
Yeah.
way to do something.
And they all end up sinning.
And they end up doing something. Not everybody, not all of them, because there's still tons and tons of legions of angels that are still on Yah's side. Obviously, his son did not go against his commandments, and but most everything has. And so, have you guys seen a falling star? You guys ever?
Yeah.
I don't think I've.
We're pretty sheltered here, folks.
I saw one time.
Yeah. So when you see a falling star, is it our guess that this thing has ended its prison
10,000
sentence?
years.
Yeah, it's ended its prison sentence, and so it's fallen out.
So where's it go?
I don't know. It looks like it burns out. When it goes out, it's just like it literally is burning out. Maybe it's freed, or maybe it goes back to stars. I mean, are the stars alive? It's a question. I mean, what are we dealing with here? All right, let's go into chapter 19. Then Uriel said, "Here the angels who cohabitated with women appointed their leaders, and assuming many forms, made men profane and caused them to err, so that they sacrificed to devils as to Elohim. For in the great day of judgment, with which they shall be judged until they are consumed, and their women also shall be judged, who led astray the angels of heaven, that they might salute them." Oh, wow. So this talks about the women leading the angels astray. Wow. So all the guilt's not falling directly on the angels.
Mine says, "And the women also of the messengers who went astray shall become demons."
And what's it say? The women what?
Shall become demons.
But the
And
messengers.
the women also of the messengers
Oh, wow.
who went astray shall become demons.
Okay, so there's female messengers, right? So there's male and female messengers. Wow.
Oh,
Okay.
cool. So there's women and male demons.
I didn't. Well, yeah, there's men and women demons. Yeah, for sure. And imagine what a female woman demon can do to people. I mean, it's not going to be good. All right, 3. And I, Enoch, I alone saw the likeness of the end of all things, nor did any man see it as I saw it. Wow, that's crazy. All right, female demons now too. But it's interesting the translations, because back on that, it doesn't say. It says until they are consumed and their women. I guess when it says their women, it's talking about the women of the fallen. Again, what does yours say?
And okay, so I'm going to start back at 19 in the beginning.
All right.
And Uriel said to me, "Here shall stand the messengers who have connected themselves with women, and their spirits, assuming many different forms, are defiling mankind, and shall lead them astray into sacrificing to demons as mighty ones, till the day of the great judgment, in which they shall be rightly ruled, till they are made an end of. And the women also of the messengers who went astray shall become demons."
So I don't think we're talking about female messengers. I think it says, if we read that correctly, it says, and the women of the fallen, right?
So the wives of the fallen.
The ones who did this, right? I mean, so that is a lot of power in womanhood, right? And so women out there, you have a tremendous amount of power flipping your eyelids at men to make them do what they want. I guess it works the exact same way. I guess anything can fall in love and become attracted to something. So I do not think there are women messengers. I don't know, but I don't know of anything. We've never heard of a female messenger, but maybe there are. I don't know. Okay, 20. These are the names of the angels who watch: Uriel, one of the holy angels, who is clamor and terror. You guys have anything different than that?
Mine says the same thing.
Okay.
Mine says Gehinnon.
Gehinnon. So it says what?
Uriel, one of the Kadesh messengers who is over the world and over Gehinnon.
Okay, Gehinnon is like basically hell, right?
Mine says Uriel, one of the holy angels who's over the world and over Tartarus.
Yeah, so that's crazy. So there's one. Okay, Raphael, one of the holy angels who is over the Ruach of men. Ragiel, one of the holy angels who inflicts punishment on the world and the luminaries. Michael, one of the angels who is over mankind, virtue, commands the nations. Serachiel, one of the holy angels who is over the Ruach of the children of men that transgress. Okay, let's stop with that one. That's very interesting. So if a man transgresses, and I guess if you're outside of covenant with Yah, then you're going to have Serachiel messing with you. I don't know.
Mine says spirits. So Serachiel, one of the Kadesh messengers who is appointed over the spirits who sin in the spirit.
Okay.
So whoever sins, she's over the people that sin. She deals with those people, I guess.
I don't know. All right. Gabriel, one of the holy angels who is over the serpents, over paradise, and over the cherubim. So Gabriel is the man. Gabriel has all the rest of the cherubim. So this is very interesting.
So he's the war leader, not Michael.
Yeah, these are the Michael is he's over mankind. Yeah, so I mean these are the people. I don't know if we've ever encountered one of these. It would be amazing if we actually encountered one of these celebrities. These are celebrity messengers right here.
Does yours not have the 8th one?
No,
Ramiel?
you have 8.
Ramiel.
Yeah, mine has Ramiel.
That's probably in the next chapter.
No.
No.
Nope. So we're missing one. All right.
Ramiel, one of the Kadesh messengers who Elohim appointed over those who rise.
Over those who rise. That's Ramiel.
Yeah.
That's interesting that the Sefer does not have that.
Mine doesn't have
I
either.
have some references to them in Matthew and Mark.
Wow, these books are very. They came in shards and pieces of shard paper, and they had to put them together.
I'm
Okay.
back on Michael,
Yep.
one of the Kadesh messengers, in order that he is appointed over the best part of the mankind and over disorder.
Over the best kind of mankind.
Over the best part of mankind
So
and
Ramiel,
over disorder.
Hold on, go on, Ian.
Ramiel is the angel that talked to Miriam at the tomb. He's over the ones who rise back from the dead, I think.
How do you know this?
In the references, it put those two where, and then they saw a young man clothed in long white robes sitting on the right side, and they were alone.
Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah. Okay. Very cool. All right. Let's continue on. We got a little bit of time here. Nicole, you hot? You
It's a little hot here.
She's hot. She's a beautiful wife. All right. Then I made a circuit to a place in which nothing was completed. 21. And there I beheld neither the tremendous workmanship of an exalted heaven, nor an established earth, but a desolate spot prepared and terrific. All right, so he just made a circuit. Was your guys say circuit? Mm-hmm. Okay, so he made a trip around
Mine
something.
says I went around to a place where nothing was made.
Mine's completely different.
Yeah, mine is too.
All right, what do you guys have?
And I proceeded to where matters were disordered, and I saw there some horrible matter. I saw neither Shamayim above, nor a firmly founded earth, but a place disorderly and horrible.
All right. Okay, so we'll read this one here. Now you guys actually know the different versions. And there I beheld neither the tremendous workmanship of an exalted heaven, nor of an established earth, but a desolate spot prepared and terrific. There too I beheld 7 stars of heaven bound in it together, like great mountains and like a blazing fire. I exclaimed, for what species of crime have they been bound? And why have they been removed to this place? Then Uriel, one of the holy angels who was with me, and who conducted me, answered, Enoch, wherefore do you ask? Wherefore do you reason with yourself and anxiously inquire? These are those of the stars which have transgressed the commandment of El Elyon, and are here bound, until the infinite number of days of their crimes be completed.
Mine said until 10,000 ages are completed.
Mine, you have 10,000 years.
10,000 years. So we have 10,000 years. We have 10,000 ages. Mm-hmm. And then we have here infinite. So 10,000. We had myriad, which is 10,000 as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, myriad's 10,000.
So basically, these are the stars. So basically, space is void.
Space is void.
That's what I'm getting out of this.
Maybe.
This is a place where it's like all like dark and void. Nothing's happening there.
Maybe he was taken up into what we call space. All right, 5. Where I beheld the operation of a great fire blazing and glittering, in the midst of which there was a division. Columns of fire struggled together to the end of the abyss, and deep was their descent. but neither its measurement nor magnitude was I able to discover, neither could I perceive its origin. Then I exclaimed, how terrible is this place, and how difficult to explore. Uriel, one of the holy angels who was with me, answered and said, Canuck, why are you alarmed and amazed at this terrific place, at the sight of this suffering? This, he said, is the prison of the angels, and here they are kept forever. Okay, so this, I don't think this is space. I mean, first of all, it talks about stars, right?
Right.
Right above this. Is anyone else having anything different on your versions?
Yeah.
What do you got?
And Uriel answered me, one of the Kadesh messengers who was with me, and said to me, Canuck, why have you such fear and terror? And I answered, because of this fearful place, and because of the spectacle of the pain. And he said to me, this place is the prison of the messengers, and here they will be imprisoned forever.
Wow. All right, so we have a whole bunch of... so I guess this leads to the question I guess the fallen, the Watchers, to begin with, weren't as evil as these other ones.
Yeah, I don't know, whatever these did,
They really did some evil stuff.
somehow the other ones got to Earth, and these ones are like stuck in the prison.
Right, but even when they went to Earth, they still had a relationship with Yah up until they did the great evil, and they could no longer put their heads
Well,
towards
if you look at it, you see that Hasatan can still make it to heaven and talk to Yah, because Hasatan goes up to him and he sees been in the chat. You hear it in Job. He's like, Hasatan, where you been? He goes, oh, I've been on the earth,
roaming to and fro, seeing
So
who I
he
may
obviously
devour.
hasn't he may be the evilest dude, but he didn't get cut off from heaven. He can still go up
But
there.
these guys were cut off from heaven, and Hasatan
Because
has
they,
got to be way
dude,
worse.
I don't know, these guys did some things with the women. I don't know if Hasatan maybe didn't mate with a woman.
I mean, Hasatan led all humanity astray with the apple or the fruit, whatever it was. How was that lesser than evil than what these guys did?
I don't know. He's still allowed in heaven. It's obvious that he's still allowed in heaven when he...
I think Yah really liked Hasatan. I think he was one of his favorite creatures to begin with before the guy turned his back on him. I think that's why he was in charge of all the music and things of that nature. All right, let's go a couple more. We got a few minutes. All right. From there I proceeded to another spot, where I saw in the west a great and lofty mountain, a strong rock, and 4 delightful places. Internally it was deep, capacious. What should you guys say?
Wide.
Wide and very smooth.
I think that's the right word, capacious. And very smooth as if it had been rolled over. It was both deep and dark to behold. Then Raphael, one of the holy angels who were with me, answered and said, these are the delightful places where the Ruach, the souls of the dead, will be collected. For then they were formed, and here will be collected all the souls of the sons of men. Now we know of this place as what?
Sheol.
Sheol, right? And there's a good part of Sheol, and there's a bad part of Sheol. There's like a chasm.
Deep
So
in
right now they're in the good part.
Yeah, this is the good part. So, all right, these places in which they dwell shall they occupy until the day of judgment, and until their appointed period. Their appointed period will be long, even until the great judgment. And I saw the Ruach of the sons of men who were dead, and their voices reached to heaven while they were accusing. Who's going to be there first?
Adam?
No.
Abel.
Abel,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, that's right. He died first.
Yeah, Abel. Abel's going to be sitting there accusing. Yep. Then I inquired of Raphael, an angel who was with me, and said, whose Ruach is that, the voice of which reaches to heaven and accuses? He answered, saying, this is the Ruach of Havel, who was slain by Cain his brother, and who will accuse that brother until his seed be destroyed from the face of the earth, until his seed perish from the seed of mankind. So he's been in there, he's been complaining, upset for a very long time.
So far, I think this chapter makes the most sense to me.
It makes most sense?
This one of them, Sheol and stuff, explaining Sheol and, understanding what the design of heaven and stuff.
I agree. All right, at that time, therefore, I inquired respecting him and respecting the general judgment, saying, why is one separated from another? He answered, 3 separations have been made between the Ruach of the dead, and thus have the Ruach of the righteous been separated, namely by a chasm, by water, and by light above it. All right, so the basically it's like hell, and it's not even hell, but it's a bad part of Sheol. So there's a separation by the chasm, which would be like a giant canyon, then water, and then light.
I'm going to read mine.
Yes.
And he answered me and said to me, these 3 have been made that the spirits of the dead might be separated, and such a division has been made from the spirits of the righteous, in which there is a bright spring of water.
Okay, back to where you talked about Abel talking about. I had a little bit of a reference back to Genesis 4:8.
Yeah.
And it says here, and the Lord said unto Cain, where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper? And then the next verse it says, and he said, what hast thou done? The voice of your brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground.
From the
so
ground.
that's what it's talking about there. He's
Right.
crying from Sheol.
Gotcha. All right. 11. And in the same way, likewise, are sinners separated when they die and are buried in the earth, judgment not overtaking them in their lifetime. Okay, that's interesting.
So basically, those who haven't repented.
Yeah, so the same way, sinners are separated when they die and are buried in the earth, judgment not overtaking them in a lifetime. All right, that's interesting. Here their souls are separated. Moreover, abundant is their suffering until the time of the great judgment, the castigation and the torment of those who eternally execrate, whose souls are punished and bound there forever. This sounds like a bad spot. How does your guys read?
And here their souls will be separated for this great torment until the great day of judgment, punishment, torment for those who curse forever and avenge on their souls. And there he will bind them forever. Verily, he is from the beginning of the world.
So, I mean, this is a good reason not to be an atheist. I mean, here's the thing, is if you're wrong, you're doomed, right? If you're wrong and somehow, you have to have a tremendous amount of faith to be an atheist, right? Tremendous amount.
At least.
How did creation come from? Who created? We popped and we all came from, like fish, crawled out of the ocean and became monkeys. It's crazy. It's crazy. There's definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, a creator. And there's a very bad place that evil people go, and that's a place we probably shouldn't aspire to go, for sure. 13. And thus has it been from the beginning of the world. Thus has there existed a separation between the souls of those who utter complaints and of those who watch for their destruction, to slaughter them in the day of sinners. So the good news is, when we die, we're not hanging around all the evil people, right?
That'd be pretty creepy. Like sitting them for like a long time. Like, hey, man.
Yeah, all the dead people in torment and sitting there listening and watching them, that'd be torment in
I
itself.
hope we don't have to hear them because that'd be like really depressing.
I don't think you can. Remember the story of the rich man and Lazarus?
Right.
Yeah, Lazarus had no idea the rich man was sitting down there getting drilled.
And such a division has been made for their spirits of those who make their petition, who make their disclosures concerning their destruction when they were slain in the days of the sinners.
Mm-hmm. Okay. 14. A receptacle of this sort has been formed for the souls of unrighteous men and of sinners, and of those who have completed crime and associated with the impious, whom they resemble. Their souls shall not be annihilated in the day of judgment, neither shall they arise from this place. Then I blessed Elohim. So that's interesting right there. It
So they
says
stay there forever?
Yeah, their souls shall not be annihilated.
Is that hell?
Even in the day, I don't know. In the days of judgment, they're still their souls are still there, right? So that is the thing which I urge all of you guys, Jade, Cade, Eli, everybody that's listening to this, protect your souls at all costs. All costs. There's no reason ever to bend or to budge or to go away from the laws of Yah, because we got to be righteous in everything that we do. All right, 15. And said, blessed be my Adonai, Yahuwah of glory and of righteousness, who reigns over all forever and ever. All right, let's just do a couple more real quick, and we'll call it. 23. From there I went to another place, towards the west, unto the extremities of the earth, where I beheld a fire blazing and running along without cessation, which intermitted its course neither by day nor by night, but continued always the same. I inquired, saying, what is this, which never ceases? Then Raguel, what you guys say?
Raguel.
Raguel.
It's kind of like almost like bagel, but with a U.
Yeah.
Raguel.
Raguel, one of the holy angels who were with me, answered and said, this blazing fire which you behold running towards the west is all the luminaries of heaven. All right, so this is something different, right? These are this doesn't sound like a prison. This sounds like he went to another place towards the west. Mm-hmm. And this is where all the luminaries. So what are we dealing with luminaries? Are we talking like stars? We know the stars in prison are somewhere.
Mine says all the lights of the Shamayim.
Lights of Shamayim, that would be
the sun,
stars.
The moon, and the stars.
Well, it tells us later where the sun comes from, and maybe it sits there and lives here, but there's gates that comes out later.
It says without resting and did not cease from its course day or night.
Where's that at?
Mine's
5?
on 2.
Oh, right. Did not. Okay, from source day or night. All right, I don't know exactly what that is. All right, 24. I went from there to another place and saw a mountain of fire flashing both day and night. I proceeded towards it and perceived 7 splendid mountains. There's 7, which were all different from each other. Their stones were brilliant and beautiful. All were brilliant and splendid to behold, and beautiful was their surface. 3 were towards the east and strengthened by being placed one upon another, and 3 were towards the south, strengthened in a similar manner. There were likewise deep valleys, which did not approach each other, and the 7th mountain was in the midst of them. In length they all resembled the seat of a throne, and odoriferous trees surrounded them. Among these there was a tree of an unceasing smell. Nor of those which were in Eden was there one of all the fragrant trees which smelt like this. Its leaf, its flower, and its bark never withered, and its fruit was beautiful. Its fruit resembled the cluster of the palm. I exclaimed, Behold, this tree is goodly in aspect, pleasing in its leaf, and the sight of its fruit is delightful to the eye. Then Michael, one of the holy and glorious angels who were with me, and who presided over them, answered and said, Canuck, why do you inquire respecting the odor of this tree? Are you inquisitive to know it? Then I, Canuck, replied to him and said, Concerning everything I am desirous of instruction, but particularly concerning this tree.
This is a very interesting tree. He's like,
Yeah.
this tree is something I want to know about.
This is a special
And
tree.
yours says clusters of palm.
Yeah.
Mine said resembles dates of a palm.
Dates of a palm. Okay. Let's see. 8. He answered me, saying, That mountain which you behold, the extent of whose head resembles the seat of Yahuwah, will be the seat on which shall sit the holy and great Yahuwah of glory, the everlasting King, when he shall come and descend to visit the earth with goodness. And that tree of an agreeable smell, not one of carnal odor, there shall be no power to touch until that period of the great judgment, when all shall be punished and consumed forever. This shall be bestowed on the righteous and humble. The fruit of the tree shall be given to the elect. For towards the north life shall be planted in the holy place, toward the habitation of the everlasting King. Okay, so this is very interesting here because, we know that Messiah Yahushua is going to reign in Mount Zion. That will be our king. But this says that at some point Yah would come and dwell with us here. So that's very interesting. Anyone have any comments, anything on this?
I do have something. It's from Revelation 22:1 right here, a little footnote here. And he shewed me a pure river of water of life, which crystal clear as crystal, proceeding out of the throne of God and of the Lamb. In the midst of the street of it, and on either side of the river, there was a tree of life, which bare 12 manner of fruit, and yielded her fruit every month. And leaves the tree were for the healing of the nations. And there shall be no more curses, but the throne of God and of the Lamb shall be in it, and his servant shall serve him.
So, this is not the tree of good and evil, knowledge of good and evil.
Tree of life.
This is a tree of life.
So we basically, once we eat this, we live forever.
Yeah, remember when in the book of Adam and Eve, when Adam wanted to sneak back into the garden, and Yah says he might make it to this tree? I think this was the tree he was talking about, the tree of good and of life.
Mine says no mortal is permitted to touch it till
Yeah.
the great judgment.
Yeah. Then shall they greatly rejoice and exult in the Holy One. The sweet odor shall enter into their bones, and they shall live a long life on the earth as your forefathers have lived. Neither in their days shall sorrow, distress, trouble, and punishment afflict them. And I bless Yahuwah of glory, the everlasting King, because he has prepared this tree for the Kadeshium, formed it, and declared that he would give it to them. All right, it's our tree. Hopefully we'll make it to the tree. All right, we'll do one final thing. We'll end at 25 here, which is
Mine's chapter 26.
26. All right. From there I proceeded to the middle of the earth and beheld a happy and fertile spot, which contained branches continually sprouting from the trees which were planted. All right, so he just made it to the middle of the earth.
This wouldn't be a round ball because that'd be inside the earth and there would be nothing inside. I don't think it'll be trees.
Well, they
inside
claim
the
that the middle of the earth is molten lava cores and blah, blah,
earth.
blah.
I don't think so. I think he's talking about a flat earth and you're not in the middle of it.
Okay. So sprouting from the trees which were planted in it, then I saw a holy mountain, and underneath it water on the eastern side, which flowed towards the south. I saw also on the east another mountain as high as that, and between them were deep but not wide valleys. Water ran towards the mountain to the west of this, and underneath there was likewise another mountain. There was a valley, but not a wide one, below it, and in the midst of them were other deep and dry valleys towards the extremity of the three. All these valleys, which were deep but not wide, consisted of a strong rock with a tree, which was planted in them, and I wondered at the rock and the valleys, being extremely surprised. Now, I don't want to end it right here because now I'm curious about this valleys. I know it's going to tell me here. All right, one more. Then I said, what means this blessed land? All these lofty trees and the accursed valley between them. Then Uriel, one of the holy angels who were with me, replied.
Yours says Uriel?
Yeah.
Mine says Raphael.
Mine says Uriel.
Mine says Uriel.
Here's one's Raphael. We got
Mine's still Uriel.
So Uriel.
Four Uriel or one Raphael. I think it's Uriel.
Yeah. All right. Then Uriel, one of the holy angels who were with me, replied, This valley is the accursed of the accursed forever. Here shall be collected all who utter with their mouths unbecoming language against Elohim, and speak harsh things of his glory. Here they shall be collected. Here there shall be their territory. In the latter days an example of judgment shall be made of them in righteousness before the Kadeshim, while those who have received mercy shall forever, all their days, bless Elohim, the everlasting King. And at the period of judgment shall they bless him for his mercy, as he has distributed it to them. Then I blessed Elohim, addressing myself to him and making mention, as was meet, of his greatness. All right, we'll call that one good. I do want to get through all of Enoch probably inside of a week. I don't want this to go further, or else we'll forget what exactly we were talking about. Like just from this morning to this afternoon, we have to do a little review to see where we're at. And so maybe tomorrow we can get another. There's only 100. I think there's 108 chapters in this, and so we will go through this. Does anyone have anything out there?
No, this is kind of unfamiliar territory. Like these things, like we can't really explain a lot of these things that Enoch saw. So nothing like crazy. We're all learning with you guys. We're trying to figure this out as we go, because it's a very technological book, I guess, a very complicated book to understand, because especially where Enoch says, and some of the things I've seen and no one else has seen it, he can't even explain it because it was so crazy. So
yeah, and there's a huge difference between our reading of the Torah and reading of this, right? With the Torah, we can mostly figure everything out. This stuff is pretty mysterious. A lot of the stuff is mysterious. A lot of it we won't know until the end times, but it's stuff we should know. All right, guys, read your Bibles.
If they have any input, let us know.
If you guys have any input on this stuff, we'd love to hear from you guys. We always love to hear from you guys. Much love to our extended family. We love y'all, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.
All right, shalom.